Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful chapters in the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf, which actually translates to the chapter of the cave. We're going to unpack some really timeless wisdom hidden inside its stories.
So inside this chapter, you've got these four pretty distinct tales. There's one about some young guys in a cave, a story about two men in their gardens, another about the prophet Moses on a wild journey, and finally, a story about a powerful king who builds a massive wall. On the surface, they don't seem connected at all. But are they?
I mean, think about it. You have persecuted believers, a super rich and kind of arrogant farmer, a prophet trying to gain more knowledge, and a king with immense power. What in the world could possibly tie all of these threads together? Well, the answer is actually pretty profound.
The source text we're digging into today argues that these aren't just random stories. Nope, they are symbolic. Each one represents one of the biggest tests or trials that every single one of us has to face in life.
So what's the point of it all? Well, according to our source, the whole chapter is basically a guidebook. It's a manual for how to navigate the constant struggle between truth and falsehood, between belief and doubt. You know, the stuff that makes up the human experience.
And at the heart of this whole thing is a concept called al-ibtila. Now you could translate that as the trial, but it's deeper than that. It's more like a test that's designed to reveal and polish who you really are. Our source points to a key verse that says God is testing us as to which of them is best indeed. So in a way, life itself is the ultimate test of our character.
Okay, so how does this idea of a trial actually play out in these stories? Well, let's start with the first one. It's about a group of young believers who are under just immense pressure from their society to abandon their beliefs. This is the trial of faith.
The companions of the cave were up against a classic dilemma. How do you stay true to yourself when the entire world is screaming at you to change? It's a test of integrity that's just as real today with peer pressure as it was back then with persecution. It really makes you ask, do I compromise what I believe in, or do I stand my ground, no matter how hard it is?
And here's the thing, their response was anything but passive. They didn't just sit back and hope for the best. No, they were decisive. They stood up and declared what they believed. They called out the falsehoods around them. They prayed for guidance, and then, and this is key, they physically removed themselves from that toxic environment to protect their faith.
This prayer just says it all, doesn't it? It's not a prayer of despair, like, oh, please just get us out of here. It's a proactive prayer. They're asking for the tools, for the right guidance, to navigate the trial they're in.
Okay, now let's shift gears to the second story. It's a parable about two men. One is blessed with these incredible gardens, and the other, not so much. This story dives right into the seductive and often dangerous trial of wealth, something that feels especially relevant today.
Just look at the contrast here. It's not really about being rich versus poor. It's all about your attitude. You've got one guy who is just filled with gratitude, who sees everything he has as a gift. And then you have the other guy, who's dripping with arrogance, thinking he did it all himself. It's a total clash of worldviews.
And here's the rich man's boast. He got so blinded by his own success that he thought he was the source of it all. He even started to doubt that there was anything beyond his perfect little world, forgetting all about the afterlife.
But his faithful friend comes back with the perfect antidote to that arrogance. He gently reminds him, hey, remember who's really in charge. He urges him to recognize God as the true source of all blessings. It's a powerful lesson in humility.
And the story's ending is a gut punch. Those gardens he was so proud of, they're destroyed in the blink of an eye. It's this powerful lesson that wealth, when it makes us arrogant and ungrateful, is fragile. It has no real lasting value.
All right, our third story gets a little mysterious. We follow the prophet Moses as he goes on a journey to learn from this incredibly wise but, enigmatic guy named Khidr. And this brings us to the trial of knowledge. So while they're traveling, Khidr does three things that are just completely baffling. He damages a boat that belongs to some poor people, he takes a young boy's life, and he fixes a wall for people who were totally rude to them. And he does it all without any explanation. You can just imagine Moses' frustration, right? It's testing his patience and everything he thought he knew about justice.
Then the big reveal starts. First up, the boat. What looked like straight-up vandalism was actually an act of mercy. Turns out, a tyrant king was nearby, seizing every single perfect boat he could find. By making it look damaged, Khidr actually saved it for its poor owners.
Now, this second one is even harder to process. Khidr explains that the young boy would have grown up to bring his good, faithful parents nothing but pain and suffering. So this terrible, tragic event was, from a different perspective, a way to prevent an even greater tragedy down the line. It's a heavy lesson for sure.
And that brings us to our final story, and maybe the biggest trial of all, the trial of power. Here, we follow the journey of a just and mighty ruler named Dhul-Qarnayn.
So this ruler, Dhul-Qarnayn, has incredible power, but he never ever abuses it. He has this clear, just method he follows everywhere he goes. He punishes those who are doing wrong, he rewards the righteous, and this is so important, he empowers people to help themselves.
And get this, after his greatest achievement, building a giant wall to protect a whole community from the corrupting forces of Gog and Magog, he doesn't take a victory lap. He doesn't say, look at me, look what I built. Instead, he just says, this is a mercy from my Lord. That's the ultimate humility, right there.
So, okay, we've walked through the 4 big trials of life: faith, wealth, knowledge, and power. So, what's the big lesson we're supposed to take from all this?
This table really lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? It's like a cheat sheet for life's biggest tests. For the trial of faith, you need good company. For the trial of wealth, you need gratitude. For knowledge, patience is key. And for power, you absolutely need justice and humility.
And the chapter leaves us with this one final, powerful thought. All this stuff we chase in this world, wealth, power, status, it's all temporary. The Quran says, entering good deeds are better with your Lord for reward and better for hope. So as you go about facing your own trials, the real question is, what are you building that will actually last?